Hello everybody. Today I wanted to talk about my older 100 series John Deere lawn tractor and how I put this new two-stage 44-inch snowblower on it. The number on this is the BM27439, and it's available from a bunch of different places. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or a John Deere dealer. But what you're going to find is on these older tractors, they say this won't fit, but it actually does. And today's video is going to outline three things. One is going to be the differences in this older tractor to make this work. And then two is going to be a little bit of a review on the blower itself. And then three will be kind of some of the other things that I did to it to make it work a little bit better. We'll start with the first thing is this is a 2008 John Deere LA135. It has almost 700 hours on it. Yeah, 692. The transaxle still works well. I've changed the fluid in it a couple of times. But the first thing is, like I said, this snowblower, it generally you get told that this will not fit one of these. It will only fit a newer tractor, but really, after a bunch of measurements, all the L, the LA, the D, and the E series tractors, really, these all pretty much have an identical frame underneath, going all the way back to maybe the year 2000 or so. So the dimensions haven't actually changed. The first thing that is different, though, is that underneath, where this drive belt module attaches, so the front just hooks into the pin that's used for the rear, the black draft arms that go to your mower deck. But the rear one, where this carriage bolt is, the hole in the frame is actually missing on these older tractors. So you can do one of two things. You can do what I did, and I basically mocked this drive system up with a couple blocks of wood, and then I just used the holes in it to make a little template, and then I drilled the holes and used a square file to utilize the actual carriage bolt. Or you can just drill a round hole and get a different bolt that's just round. That's fine too. If you do that, just be aware that on the back side of this part of the frame, there's a wiring harness back here. And on the other side, you'll notice the fuel line is back there. So if you're going to drill these holes, be aware that those are there. You're going to need to move them out of the way so you don't damage the harness or cause a fuel leak or something like that. But it really isn't too bad. It didn't take long to drill the holes for these. The other option is there is a bracket available that runs, I believe, from these two holes up to this bolt. So I think you get a longer bolt, and there's a big bracket that will take up this place, and then you don't need these carriage bolts. However, I think those brackets are about $100 a piece, and you need two of them. So, and they also, unfortunately, they do mention the part number in the manual that comes with the snowblower, but you don't know that you need that ahead of time. So basically what happens is you get your snowblower and you try to start putting it to the tractor, and then you realize that you need these two brackets that they don't tell you outside of the manual, only in the manual. So, but that is an option for people who either maybe don't have a drill or aren't comfortable doing that type of work. So that's difference number one. Difference number two is the way the controls for the chute mount to the tractor. So the later tractors use this bracket here. And obviously you can see this bracket is not wide enough to fit on this older tractor. So there's a mount point here, that's the cargo mount system, and another one way over here. And this is obviously too short to fit in there. Now I made this auxiliary bracket to span that, and then I just drilled and tapped a hole here for a small, I think it's an M6 bolt. But so that's an option. Or the other thing you can do is, so this hole and bushing and the way that this chute deflector control mounts is the same on all of the other brackets. So you can actually go to like the John Deere parts catalog and get the chute control mount bracket for an older L or LA or D series tractor, and then you won't have any of this. It'll just be a small bracket that's attached just here. And I think that bracket's around 35 or 40 bucks. But that's the only other difference. Everything else is the same. Dimensionally, the placement of all of these front hitch brackets, those hole spacings are all the same. The belt is the same, so you don't need to get a different size belt. All of the pulley dimensions and locations are the same. Mine happens to have just a manual PTO. That cable still works on this. I didn't have to change the cable, which is that's this guy over here. It's actually on the other side of the tractor, but that works just fine. So yeah, like I said, I've seen several descriptions saying that this snowblower won't work with these older tractors, but it actually will if you know what to look for. And it's really not. If you end up buying all the brackets, there is no fabrication. There's nothing else you have to do. You just have to buy the brackets. So hopefully that helps, because I've seen a lot of people asking if this snowblower will fit L, LA, D series tractors. And the answer is always no, but it actually will fit if you know exactly what to look for. So moving on from that, a couple of the modifications that I did, particularly for using this snowblower, is I got another set of rear wheels. And I put these are called Maristar turf traction tires. They're kind of like, they have turf treads on the outside and like almost mini bar treads on the inside. Now the one advantage to these tires is they are actually 2 inches narrower. Well, I should preface that by saying the LA135 had 10-inch wide turf tires on it. So these are actually 2 inches narrower than that, which helps you in the snow because it puts more pressure into one particular place, which aids in traction. The other thing that helps is that I actually filled these tires with windshield washer solvent. So I added 35 or 37 pounds to each one of these. This allows me to actually clear my driveway without needing chains. Now my driveway is fairly flat. It's just a very, very gentle grade. So if you have a really steep driveway, you may still need the chains, but I really like these tires so far. I've used this thing 3 or 4 times, and I have not had any issues with traction. Especially, I do have the weight bracket with 2 of the 42-pound suitcase weights. The other thing I did was I added these lights. This is a set of LED trailer lights that have reverse lights in them, and I utilized a handful of relays that I put together, and I added another switch to the actuating arm on the transaxle. So this thing basically has running lights, brake lights, and reverse lights. I do occasionally have to go out into my street, and my street gets fairly busy, so I figured having extra lights would really help in that situation. They all come on when you turn the headlights on. So I turn it to the headlight position. You can see the headlights are on. And then those lights are on. Now if I go forward, those brake lights shut off. And if I go backwards, they shut off and the reverse lights come on. So that was one thing that I did add to the tractor. I don't think, there's not really anything else that I added other than, and I guess this is kind of getting into the review of this snowblower. The snowblower itself works fantastic. We haven't had any really heavy snows yet. I think the most I've done with it is about 5 inches. But between the tires and all of the extra weight and you know, the power of this thing, this one has the 22 horsepower Briggs & Stratton V-twin in it, and this didn't have any trouble throwing snow whatsoever. The last 2 snows ago was a really heavy wet, probably 4 inches, and it didn't have any trouble throwing it at all. My one complaint about this particular snowblower, and I've not used any other tractor mounted snowblowers, so I don't know how good or bad it is, but originally this had a big arm attached right here, which would come up right to about this area here with a big handle on it, and this is how you raised and lowered the snowblower. I found that it took quite a bit of strength to lift that snowblower, and the arm that was attached to it felt really kind of flimsy. So the other thing I added was this electric linear actuator, which is available for, if you look this up for the newer S tractors, that's the S100 series or the S200 series, with this snowblower, this is the actuator that's available for it. And the nice thing about that is it's electrically powered, so when you turn the key on, I just have this switch here that raises and lowers the blower. So that makes it pretty nice to use. But yeah, that's about it. The only issue with this actuator is if you need to open the hood for anything, you do need to remove, there's a pin here and there's a pin on the other side. You need to remove those and actually get this whole thing kind of out of the way so you can tilt the hood forward, like maybe for checking oil or if you have any other kind of an issue. Although, I just changed the oil in this right before I put the snowblower on. That was part of my annual maintenance, so I shouldn't have to worry about that. And I've only used this thing for about an hour since I put the snowblower on, so I'm probably good on the oil. But just something to keep in mind if you end up doing like I did and getting this actuator, that it does make it a little more difficult to open the hood. But I think that's about it. Hopefully I help somebody make up their mind about whether to buy this snowblower for their older tractor. Like I said, it will fit if you know what to look for. And if you do some searching on mytractorforum.com, look in the John Deere section, and I do have some write-ups in there. Maybe I'll put links in the description below. But like I said, hopefully this helps somebody, and I hope everybody has a great day.